Welcome to NFL World, when the NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob, and welcome to the NFL Dream, where we're going to head to Detroit and talk about the Detroit Lions. But before we do, everyone right now, like the video, subscribe. It's absolutely free, helps us out a ton, and it shows us that you enjoy this content, and so we can continue to build the NFL World community. And share the video so we can also continue to build the community in that way. Thank you so much. DJ Reed was the first big signing, I think, of the Detroit Lions. You lost Carlton Davis. We'll get into it. He went to New England, but you signed DJ Reed to a 3-year, $48 million deal. He wanted just a new place to go. It was that simple. Robert Saleh was gone. And he didn't like what Jeff Ulbrich did. And then the fact that we're bringing a new head coach, and even though it was Aaron Glenn, he said, no, I'm not wanting to be here. So he left. 3-year deal, $48 million. I understand why. All understands. Derek Barnes signs a 3-year deal, $25.5 million deal. Barnes was actually playing really well and then kind of got nicked up. And it slowed him down and he was missing some time, and then he came back and it just didn't fully click. But he comes back and he helps the young guys out, so that's all great. Marcus Davenport signed a 1-year deal, $2.5 million. They need to find pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson, and I think Davenport does give you that in some level, so let's see what happens. Craig Reynolds re-signed on a 1-year deal. Okay. Special teams guy can help a little bit, but it's deep in the depth chart because of Gibbs and Montgomery, so there you go. A special teams guy. Dan Skipper, the offensive lineman, re-signed on a 1-year deal. They do some tackle eligible stuff, and like lining him up at tight end and all that. So I like that move. Levi Onwuzurike re-signed on a 1-year deal, $4 million. He got hurt towards ACL, so he's done. So that's extremely unfortunate. It needed to be mentioned. There's obvious needs that they do. Obviously, there's obvious needs they have. We have to really go through who they lost and the departures and what happened. But frankly, their money's a little too high right now, and that's the concern they had. In the draft pick category, they selected Tyreek Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State. He's gonna have to play a lot. McNeil is coming off an ACL, so let's see how early he can come back. But Williams is going to have to play a lot, especially to the Onwuzurike injury. Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, they needed a guard. That was a need they had to have, and they brought him in, so that's a good move. Isaac Tasala, the wide receiver from Arkansas, was in the 3rd round. In the first preseason game, I thought he played very well. He's doing some nice things. He kind of reminds me of Puka Nacua. Not super fast, but gets open, finds a way to get open. That's always a good scene. That's always a good sign to have a guy who can do that at a very high level. Then you have Miles Frazier, the guard from LSU. That was in the 5th round because they didn't have a 4th round pick. So I like that move. They need to build this offensive line. They wanted to draft an offensive lineman, I think, so badly in this 1st round. But it looked like they wanted Tyler Booker from Alabama, but he ended up going to Dallas like 15 picks beforehand. So they kind of scrambled. So they drafted 2 guards in the 2nd and 5th. The guard from LSU, okay, that should work. Let's see what happens. Round 6, they got Ahmad. I think it's pronounced Asinasine. but I'm not 100% sure. He's the edge rusher from Boise State. Okay, I didn't watch any Boise State, but you do need an edge rusher. So that was a good move. Round 7, they had 2 7th-round picks. Dan Jackson, the safety from Georgia, and Dominique Levitt, the wide receiver from Georgia. Good moves. That's a very talented move for them. So you need some safety room, some safety depth, and then you got Levitt, who's a wide receiver, to hopefully help out at the back end of your wide receiving core. So there you go. The losses in free agency were, I think, a little devastating for them. Carlton Davis signed with the Patriots. That was their top cornerback last year. I understand. We said this before when we did the Patriot video. He doesn't play every game. He doesn't. He doesn't have that kind of luck with his health. But losing him is a big loss. He signed a 3-year deal and $60 million with the New England Patriots. Kevin Zeitler signed with the Titans. Zeitler was a late addition for the team, but was helpful. Him gone, that's why you're having to get so many guards and stuff like that. Zadarius Smith, they released because they needed the money. He was too expensive, but I thought he played very well once they traded for him. I thought he was not playing great in Cleveland. Goes to Detroit after the Hutchinson injury before the deadline and was tearing some things up over there. So that was a good job by him. Infentu Malafanu, the safety from that was there for many years, now is headed to the Miami Dolphins on a 1-year, $3 million deal. So that's why you end up drafting a safety in the 7th round. And then Jonah Williams, the defensive end, signed with the Saints. Those are big injuries there and big releases. And then, think about the players that they lost in previous free agency classes. Deshaun Elliott, Evan Brown, Mike Hughes, DJ Chark. Those also are affecting you currently. So that's what you're trying to work through. The 2024 Vikings finished at 14-3, and you finished at 15-2. You beat them. That's how you won your division. You beat them in the last game of the year. I remember that game. It was wild. You had an 88% win percentage, 2%. So you won 7 games at home, 2 losses, obviously, at home. You were 8-0 on the road. You were great on the road. You won your final 3 games. You played really good football. Can that team, after losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, keep that level? I think it's going to be tough, but I don't think it's impossible. Especially how the team is constructed. They're at Green Bay week 1. They're home for Chicago. They're at Baltimore. So those are some tough games right there. I don't think Chicago will be easy to play, especially with Ben Johnson being there. Then you have home for Cleveland, at Cincinnati. Cincinnati in October that might be interesting, but let's see what happens. At Kansas City is tough. I think that's a tough game for the Lions, but I think they find a way to pull it off. Home for Tampa Bay. That's a Monday nighter. That's actually during a doubleheader they have. That will be a fun game to watch. I can't wait for that game. That's October 20th. Then they have a bye week to round out October, week 8. It's a little early for me, but it's not egregious. That's the difference. It's not egregious. It's in the middle of the year, so it's not that egregious. Then the home for Minnesota, at Washington, at Philadelphia. Those are 2 tough games. And then home for the Giants, home for the Packers, home for the Cowboys. So they have a nice little 3-game homestand. Even though Green Bay, I think, will be tough, who knows what Dallas looks like on that Thursday night game in December. Right after Thanksgiving, that's a tough team all around anyway in Detroit. But I think Dallas, especially coming off that Thursday game as well. That will be a fun game to watch. At the Rams, after that Thursday night game, home for the Steelers, at the Vikings, and then at the Bears to round out the year. I don't see them winning 15 games, in my opinion, but I think they can win 13. I think Tampa, Kansas City, Baltimore, Green Bay. I think Minnesota is good, but I don't think they're better than Detroit. And then with a long, that length of time having to play, I think you get tripped up by either the Rams or the Cowboys. I'm not saying that they'll be better, but I think you get tripped up by one of them. I think Dallas or at the Rams trip you up because of the time of the year. Because it's going to be right after Green Bay. And I think that's where an issue could occur. I think they make the playoffs. I think they'll be a great team, but I think they win 13 games. So I got them going 13-4. But let me know in the comments, what do you think the Detroit Lions record will be in 2025? It's the pinned comment, so put your prediction down there. Do you agree with me? 13-4, higher or lower? For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.